The Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I rise with utmost honor and privilege to sponsor House Resolution number 728, expressing the full support of the House of Representatives for the immediate ratification of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or RCEP. From the foundational activities of the RCEP in 2012 up until its formal inception at the ASEAN Virtual Summit, hosted by Vietnam on November the 15th, 2020, its unwavering objectives revolved around the establishment of a mutually beneficial economic multilateral framework in the Asia-Pacific region. RCEP constantly aims to create a liberal and competitive investment environment in this mega trade bloc, facilitate trade in goods through the progressive elimination of tariff barriers, and eliminate restrictions and discriminatory measures with regard to trades and services. On the 1st of January 2022, the RCEP agreement entered into by Australia, Brunei, Darussalam, Cambodia, China, Japan, Laos, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, paving the way for the creation of the world's largest free trade area. For the Philippines, the Senate is yet to concur in the ratification of the RCEP agreement. The RCEP agreement is a manifestation of the member countries' resolve to hasten the opening of markets, reinforce regional economic integration, commit to an inclusive and rules-based multilateral trading system, and most importantly, contribute to the world efforts of salvaging plummeting economies due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Philippines, consistent with its constitutional mandate to pursue a trade policy that utilizes all forms of and arrangements of exchange on the basis of equality and reciprocity, has long been a signatory to various free trade agreements, including the 2010 ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, Philippines-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement, and the Philippines-European Free Trade Association Free Trade Agreement. Even with the existing bilateral trade agreements that the Philippines has fostered with the ASEAN and RCEP member countries, the RCEP agreement was simultaneously launched to complement the country's bilateral agreements and resolve the negative impacts of the overlapping FTAs with regard to the levels of commitment for tariff reduction and trade rules. The RCEP's synchronous operation with bilateral FTAs definitely deepens the economic integration of its member countries. In the long run, this integration will strengthen the economic and equitable growth and development of each RCEP member country as RCEP continuously fine-tunes the mutually advantageous rules on trade, investment, and regional supply chains. Foreseeing the economic opportunities that we can gain through the agreement and in accordance with the 1987 Constitution, then President of the Philippines, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, signed the RCEP agreement and accordingly submitted it to the Senate for ratification on September the 2nd, 2021. Upon submission of the signed RCEP agreement to the Senate, majority of our government agencies manifested their concurrence for its ratification during the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations hearings conducted during the last quarter of 2021. As such, we are now a step away from the ratification of the RCEP agreement. In this present era of globalization, digitalization, and regional cooperation, it is the duty of our government to rebalance the economic advantages we can gain vis-a-vis the disadvantages and risks that we may have to live through should we decide to defer accession to or join the RCEP. As a preview to the beneficial and favorable prospect of our formal accession to the RCEP is the recent successful and productive state visits to Singapore, Indonesia, and China of President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. The local business leaders in these ASEAN countries have pledged several investments totaling to billions of pesos worth of foreign direct investments. These foreign direct investments will surely expand the economic opportunities of the Philippines by reinforcing our foreign ties and will prop job opportunities that can counter the country's unemployment and poverty problems. My dear colleagues, now is the best time to take on the challenge and consider House Resolution number 728. The world trade's impetus towards globalization, digitalization, and borderless trade will not stop nor regress for us. This representation now humbly calls upon all of you, the esteemed members of this august chamber, to unitedly move for the adoption of this resolution, expressing the full support of the House of Representatives for the immediate ratification of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Maraming salamat po.